Hello, hey, hi, it's me again. I've been playing Azure Latch for a really long while, and I really have some things to say about this game. Look, I'm not gonna say this game is terrible. There's so many redeeming qualities, but in this video, I'm going to summarize what I think, this is my opinion by the way, what I think is good about it, what's terrible about it, and how the community applies to both. So right away, let's start with the good about the game, because obviously the good comes before the bad usually. In the good, I'm going to be discussing the styles, actually. The styles that I think are good, if the thumbnail wasn't obvious enough. So let's start with, quite literally, the first style you start with. Isekai is the first style you obviously unlock, as I just mentioned before, and it has a pretty bare bones moveset, I'd say. You have your direct shot, your no high footwork, both of which can be used in base without flow. Then my direct shot, reflex shot, and move it. Overall, this style for a beginner style is pretty basic and bare bones, in my opinion. It has pretty much everything you should need in order to get the basics of the game down. You have my direct shot, which is, well, a straight shot, a really decent straight shot, not much to say there. Another high footwork, which is movement and can be used for dribbling, so it's alright. My direct shot, which is a cutscene version of the first move, but way stronger. Reflex shot, which is, in my opinion, pretty terrible. I'm not even gonna hide, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but that comes in the bad parts, so not yet. And move it is a teammate steal. It depends on who your team is for the most part, but other than that, not much to say there. It's what it says, the steal. Next is Cure, and trust me when I say this guy's actually really funny if you use him right. So, his moveset, much like Isekai, is also pretty bare bones, but hear me out on this one, this guy. His first move is a shot, which is a grass cutter without T-Special, but with T-Special, it's a little bit extra height. Not really speed though. Dance Battle is a dribble move that can be used to dribble up the field, and if somebody tackles you during it, then you can press it again to pass to whoever you're looking at. His trap is a pretty standard trap, not much to say there, again. And his 4 is, well, a really strong pass. And when I mean strong, I mean strong. That goes far and fast, like holy. But dude, Cure is so funny if you use him right, because he can either pass or shoot. And he's one of those styles where like, you can't even be bad at him for ball hogging, because literally he can do both. He can ball hog, but also pass if he really needs to. He has technically 3 different ways to pass. Most of them aren't really interceptable unless you're like, I don't know, Dawn or some shit. Next up is Seitoshi, and guys, trust me when I say this, it took a lot of thought and reconsideration if I should put this guy in the good or bad. He is one of the most mixed styles in this game to me. He's both skilled and unskilled at the same time. And I can explain why, but I'm going to do that in the bad, because for now let's talk about the good. So let's talk about it in a good way. His 1 is a dribble move that has 2 variants. Either you can just walk and do it, or you can walk to the left or right and do it. Both are different in their own ways. He has a counter that in logic mode is just a regular counter, but in reflex mode, it's like a dash counter that you gotta hit somebody in order to use, and missing it will cause heavy end lag. Curve shot is pretty simple, it's curve shot. Magic Pass is a pass that in logic mode is just a regular pass, but in logic mode, or reflex I mean, it's more accurate to where the person is, it'll actually have prediction. Say in my opinion, he's pretty solid for a more comp style. Like, you'll definitely see this dude a little more often in comps. Like, he's definitely one of those styles where like, he doesn't have the biggest skill ceiling, but he may have the biggest skill floor, in my opinion. Because picking up Sei is really not that hard, but learning some simple text and actually learning how to dribble up properly without whiffing counters, getting frame 1 with 1, like that kind of stuff to me feels like it actually takes a little bit of time to learn, not too much though. His flow is also pretty self-explanatory. His counter turns into a steal. He has 2 variants of 1, auto goal that can really only happen on a human, and drive shot, or nuisance shot. His 5 is cross elastico. He can either do an activation where it just doesn't near somebody, and it'll auto activate, or do a counter version, which will keep his flow if it's hit. Magic Pass also becomes uninterceptable if an enemy tries to take it while the shot hasn't gotten to the teammate yet. It'll play a cutscene and auto dribble that person. Pretty simple. And yeah. Finally, we have Corona. I'm not gonna take up your time, like say, because yeah, I had quite a bit to say about him. But let's be a little quicker with Corona. Corona has close quarter dribble, fetch, guard dog, landing hotline. His one pretty solid. Ever since they gave a counter frame, it actually became useful. Fetch is pretty good pass on ball. The off ball, it's used more for trolling, but pretty useful in its own way. Guard dog is reflex if it actually got raised right, and it actually is dribbleable, but actually pretty good steal. Play hotline. Okay, so in flow, we have his 1, which is a steal now, and 5, which is an auto goal, which the person you use it on has to get in the goal with you, but if either of you get tackled during it, then it can't stop the auto goal. That's it. The bad has a pretty interesting parts here, so I'm only going to cover the parts that most of these share in common. Kaiser and Rin share one thing in common, and that's your stupid AI slave lineups. Now, these two are actually pretty good on human GKs if you use them right, but on AIs, oh my god, there's nothing more annoying having somebody more than 10k goals using one of these guys and air dribbling monsters. Like, it is actually a pain in my ass to have to deal with a Kaiser that can air dribble, use 3 right, hit his counters, and land magnets in the exact same spot, same angle every single time. And the same thing applies to Rin, by the way. Okay, I will admit, Bachra and Shido don't fall victim to those two, but what they do fall victim to is the absolute text they have. Now, I could have easily replaced Bachra and Nagi here, and nobody would notice a difference. But to be honest, I feel like Bachra doesn't even take as much skill as Nagi's. At least with Nagi's, you gotta think before you do. Wait, Bachra, all of this dude, everything he does is pretty much a counter, and his shot is literally the most unreactable thing ever. Like, it's literally made to be in the box. Hey, Shido players, don't get me started with Shido players. They will genuinely use 3 moves for a singular goal and call it a tech. Like, brother, what happened to just using back heel? Like, is it really that hard? Oh yeah, remember in the good where I talked about like shot for EC being terrible? I actually meant it was shit. Like really, really bad. I despise this move solely because of the fact that you need to rely on your teammates not being absolute morons and running away from you and being near the goal box. This move is actually so situational, it actually pisses me off bad. Like, come on. And not to mention, even if you get the ball, the heavy amount of end lag is almost just as bad, if not worse than golden zone if you don't even use it. It's just embarrassing. Like, come on, dude. Are we serious? Okay, now let's talk about Aiku's kit. It is by far the most stupid thing to ever grace this game. His 1 is pretty fine, not much to say there, but his 2, oh my god, reflex tackle was actually the most stupid thing to ever come out of this game. Okay, so, reflex tackle, it goes through pretty much almost most iframes. You know, that's fine. Inherently, that's fine. Like, if you get, like, I can see it being used against, like, Rams to stop their collusion breaks, Kaisers, or Emperor paths. You know, Karasu's their 1. Like, a lot of characters that make sense. But then I cross the line at the part where it also interrupts shots. That's where I cross the line. I get it, this move is supposed to interrupt and interfere with the flow of offensive strikers and have them on the edge more often. But what if Aiku could genuinely just time this shit with literally every single time you try and pull up a shot and it will always land. Like, I would have been fine if this move was strictly just for dribbling moves or movement moves. But the fact this can also be used on shots is so stupid. And Mastery Aiku gets an auto steal this. Like, holy Christ. Why did it need an auto steal that has twice the range of, almost twice the range of Mike? That's stupidly ridiculous. Holy. Venom Trap is fine. It's basically just perfect intercept, and I don't have much problem with perfect intercept, so there's not much to say there. For normal Aiku, who gives a shit? No, seriously, who really does? Master Aiku's 4, who also gives a shit? It's just another skill, kind of. 5, it didn't really change for either mastery or default, so there's already not much to say there. But for a shot move, it's pretty standard. You're not really supposed to be using for shooting. It's supposed to be used for passing. Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm saying you Aikus should be using that to pass, not whatever you think. Dribbling up the field, going past the fucking Nagis and Dons, were all the defenders with just one move, one or two moves, and use Informer. You were not supposed to be up the field. That move is strictly for passing and only passing. You can shoot it if, like, yeah, sure, you can shoot it if you're not being contested, but if you're, like, half field and you're really easily a teammate up that you can pass the damn ball, there is no reason to be ball hungry. And last but definitely not least, let's talk about how the community applies to everything I've pretty much just talked about. And trust me, this one's probably gonna be a doozy. Do you even use doozy anymore? So everything I've said up to this point is pretty much subjective, because a lot of the things that I said, you know, they're from my experience. Like, other people can have other experiences in this game. But in my opinion, the community is mainly responsible for quite a bit of Azure Latch's problems, and bear with me on this one. Because let's look at one of the recent polls. So one of the polls that were pretty recent, I might add, was basically, should the AI get a reverted or nerfed? And me personally, I did not mind the new GK, because it actually forced players to actually think for themselves and not, you know, the most stupid 500-mile Magnus slay. Like, sure, people have found new ways to AI slay pretty much right after, but at least it encouraged actual creativity and actually, you know, finding new angles instead of just spamming the same one over and over and over again. And you want to know which one won? Yeah. I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me that this same GK that quote-unquote ruined curve shots is the same GK that lets this type of shot go in.